Hey guys, TC Mabe here with TC Gaming. Wanted to bring you an updated Synty Polygon retarget video. I covered quite a bit of this last month when I did the reviews of all the different packages, but I want to make this straightforward and direct. Currently, two of the Polygon packages are available in the marketplace for the month free, so you want to take advantage of those. And I'm actually going to use the one from the City Pack for this video. So what we have here is we have a third person project, and we have brought in our Polygon City resources. We have our default Manikin that comes with the third party project. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing I want to do is go into Polygon City into the meshes. I'm going to go into the characters folder, and I'm going to locate any of the characters in here. I'll grab the first one, businessman shirt. What I want to do is I want to go into the options, show retarget options, and I want to make sure that every one of these from the spine down is set to skeleton for the retarget. And I also want to make sure that the root is set to animation and pelvis is set to animation scaled. The other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that when you pull up, we'll pull up the skeleton on his rig here. You want to make sure when you go to the retarget manager section that this guy has a preview mesh on here. So like if I said set a preview mesh, go into your preview settings and you're going to want to make sure that this is applied. Sometimes your character won't show up unless this is applied. So I'll just grab one of these guys. Let's go get, we'll do the male police. And you can see where it says here apply to asset, but you can also go to preview scene settings, just hit apply to asset. And under the retarget options, sometimes these are incorrect. You want to go through and verify that you have a humanoid rig selected. Go down through each of these, make sure that they're mapped. Basically, this front section is usually good. But if you go to show advanced, you want to verify that you have your hands mapped correctly. So the index goes to index, and the middle goes to finger 1, 2, and 3. Your pinky should also be mapped to finger 1, 2, and 3. So you go to finger 1 left, pinky 2 is mapped to finger 2 left, pinky 3 is mapped to finger 3 left. Your ring finger is also going to be mapped to finger 1 left, finger 2 left, finger 3 left, and your thumb is already going to be mapped to your thumb. You don't have any arm twist. Your right index should be okay. Your right middle should be okay. But you're also going to want to map your pinky to the right finger 1. Pinky 2 is going to be mapped to right finger 2. Pinky 3 is going to be mapped to right finger 3. Same thing with your ring finger. We're going to just get all these on the correct bones. And what this does is it prevents all that hand twisting that you get sometimes when you go to try and retarget these. Your thumb should be okay. You don't have any arm twist, no calf twist. Ball should be mapped to ball. No thigh twist. Everything's good here with all that. Now, you're also in a T pose here, which is okay. And basically, if you have all that set up, hit the save button. Real quick recap. Skeleton tree. Options, show retargeting options, make sure these are all the skeleton, and that you have animation for the root and animation scaled for the pelvis, and you have preview mesh applied to the character, all your bones mapped correctly with the hands. Real quick, the reason we're mapping the pinky and the ring and the middle to finger is because your character has 3 fingers in their hand. So you have a thumb and an index, and then the other 3 are all mapped to just what's called finger. 1, 2, 3, left and right, respectively. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. After you get that set up, what you want to do is you want to go into your Manikin. So we're going to close this back up. We want to go into our Manikin character mesh, and we're going to open up his skeleton. Now, he doesn't have his rig on, so you want to go in here and select humanoid rig. He will automatically be mapped correctly, and you don't have to change anything in his skeleton tree. The only thing you have to change here is that you want to put him also into a T pose. So if you click in the top section for his upper arm, you can also get this from the skeleton tree by clicking on these bones. It'll move around where he's at. So if you go to his upper arm, you want this to be up, usually about 50. gets you fairly straight across. You want to take the lower arm down about 10, and you want the hand to come up about 10. And then the other thing you want to do is on the other side here, you want to do this with the upper arm. You want to go up 50. You want to go down 10, and you want to bring the hand up 10. Now, what a lot of people miss when they do the retarget is if you look around here, see he's actually got his elbows pitched forward. So the other thing you want to make sure of, even though he looks like he's in a fairly good T-pose here, tilt this back and make sure he's okay. And what you want to do is grab that lower arm again. And I normally take this back 30 for both of these. Lower arms back 30. And then if you hold down your Alt key, left mouse button and look over there, you see he's in a pretty good T-pose now. Okay. Under the Retarget Manager, we want to go to Modify Pose, Use Current Pose, and then hit the Save button. After you do that, now we can go out here to retarget whatever we want to. Now, in the case of the Manikin, under his animations, he has a third-person anim BP. So if we just retarget the animation blueprint, it'll take all of these along with us. If you do this to characters that have montages on them, you can also right-click the montages and retarget. For the animation blueprint, you simply retarget, right-click, retarget anim blueprints, and say duplicate anim blueprints and retarget. You're going to select what you want to retarget to. This is your source, which is the Manikin. Your destination or your overall character that you're targeting is SK character city rig in this case. You can change prefixes and suffixes and replace things here. I actually find it better to just leave these named the same thing and put them in a different folder, because if you're changing them out and other things that have them referenced in blueprints, it's a lot easier to find them without renaming them. So you want to change the location. I typically go to the folder that they're from. So in this case, Polygon City. If you want to bury them in here in the meshes, you can go to mesh characters or whatever. I right click here and say new folder. And I normally call mine RT underscore anims. So for me, RT is retarget anims. So I'm going to pick that folder, hit OK. And then we're just going to simply hit retarget. If you don't see, my autosave just kicked in. I love that when that does that. My autosave kicking in means I got to go redo this. So keep your eye on your clock over here or shut that off. But again, we go back in here and we're just going to change that. Now, if you don't see this character here, it means you didn't save the preview earlier. So make sure that that's good. If it's not, you can go back and change it. I'm going to go change my destination. We're going to go to Polygon City, Meshes, and under Characters, we're going to pick the RT Anims folder, hit OK, and then retarget. And what that should do is it should copy everything from the third-person animation blueprint, which is referenced in there, which are basically all these things for the idle, run, blend space, the jump loop, jump start, jump walk, etc. So these will all be in here. If I double-click and open this now, I should have all those things mapped and they're referencing that character. I can individually click each of these animations and I should see that my character is playing those. Okay, and I can save that. And if we go, now that that's been retargeted, we can use that in our game to run around by assigning it in the third-person blueprint. So if I go to third-person blueprints for the third-person character, do this one of two ways. I can either go to third-person character to the mesh, and I can select whatever I want there. So there's my male police. I typically go to viewport so I can see this, and then apply the anim class. Now remember, I left it named the same way. So what you should see in here is that there's two third-person anim BPs. You just click one until he starts to move. And if that doesn't work for you, like if I had picked the second one down, for example, he's still going to be T-posed. So having the same names on there, you just pick through each one. In this particular case, that's a little different, but for other things, you'll see it's much better to just leave them named the same way. So now your character's in here, and if you compile and save that, when you go back out here and hit play, your character should drop in, and you now have a Synty Polygon character mapped to a controlled third-person character. Okay. Now, I said there's two ways to do that. The other way to do that would have been if I had left this alone. I'm going to go to Mesh. I'm going to put this back onto the Manikin character, wherever he's at, SK Manikin, and we'll leave him back onto the third-person NMBP. We'll check that in the viewport, make sure it's okay. Save. The other way we could have done this is if I went to my Polygon City Meshes, And under the character RT anims, you could go in here and rename this. So I'm going to rename this to, I'll just call it Synty _ anim BP. And then what I'll do is I'll go into my third person blueprint, and I'm just going to right click this and say duplicate. And I'm going to call this my Synty character BP, Synty character blueprint. I'll go into my Synty character BP, into my mesh, go down and select whatever skeletal mesh I want to. All these guys share the same skeleton, so I can pick any one that I want to. And now under my anim class, since I renamed that to Synty anim BP, it's real easy to find just that portion of it. So I can compile this and save it. Now what I want to do to use the Synty character BP instead of third person character is I want to use my game mode. So under third person game mode, I can go in here and say default pawn class and change this to my Synty character BP. Compile, save, hit play, and you should have the same results, which is your Synty character, but you just haven't disturbed your original Manikin. Okay? Hopefully that updated version gets you guys a lot more mileage out of doing your retargets with your Synty characters. Again, my name's TC Mabe with TC Gaming. I'm going to try and make this extremely short. You guys have a great night, and thanks for watching.